There's no reason for your ass to be this big. No, it's not that everything in the world has to get massively bigger because you can't put the fucking fork down. If you need to get somewhere, take a damn forklift. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and share the video. You can support uncensored conversations via Cashapp or buying your girl a coffee.
Just because I'm fat, that doesn't invalidate the things that I say.
She died.
You ready to get supersized?
She died too.
Today I got the big Fruit Loop.
He's dead.
Join me on my Fat Positive radio show.
Which didn't last long because she died.
So before you guys start writing your angry comments calling me fatphobic and saying that I'm one of those red pill guys who hates women, get to the end of the video because it's probably not going to be what you think. Or actually it might be. So in recent years, there's been something called the fat acceptance movement. And the goal of this movement has been to advocate for societal change and attitudes towards fat people, along with fighting for equal rights for them in all areas of life. Think for example, advocating for a clothing brand to make bigger sizes that accommodate for fat people. Or trying to change the culture that stigmatizes fat people for going to the gym even though they're trying to change their lives.
This whole fat acceptance thing is ridiculous to me. It's one thing to say, hey, you are big, you should still love yourself, not like hate yourself because you're big. I get that part. Part of loving yourself is taking care of yourself. And I would stand firm on that point. When you are not taking care of yourself, you are not loving yourself. In regard to these fat acceptance people, it's not that they love themselves. It's not that they have all the confidence in the world. No. It's all about them wanting their laziness and their inability to put the damn fork down. They want to be able to chin check the rest of us and make it so that society bends to their will. That's why you had that one broad going from airplane to airplane, hotel to hotel, complaining because the seats weren't big enough for her wide ass, because the towels weren't big enough for her big back, and trying to chin check companies because they don't carry 20XL. Like, it's ridiculous. First of all, y'all are liabilities. When you get to be a certain size, you become a liability to the public in many different ways. Somebody that looks like this, if they try to cremate them, there have been so many different crematoriums that have gone up in flames because they tried to cremate somebody that was big like this. And when those crematoriums go up in flames, guess what? People can get hurt, people can die. Not only that, you put everybody else at risk when it comes to trying to force yourself onto different things where you don't fit. Think about the roller coasters. They have weight limits for a reason. Think about elevators. They have weight limits for a reason. Think about people that are this large being around your children. They fall on your child's done for. There has to be a healthy balance between being honest with folks about the situation that they're in, being compassionate. I agree, there should be some compassion there because you have to be mentally ill to allow yourself to get this big. Let's be honest. You have to be mentally ill to allow yourself to be that big. So we have to have some compassion for people that are like that. That level of greediness is out of this world. We have to have some compassion for that because it can't be all right up here. We cannot kowtow to these folks. Some of them will get on here and try to tell you health at every size. That's not true. Your organs do not function at their highest capacity when they are surrounded by excess fat. You cannot tell me that you are optimal health when you're huffing and puffing and you walked 2 feet from where you're at. You're huffing and puffing because you went up a few stairs, not even a full flight, a few stairs. That is not optimal health. It's not just broads. There are fat men that are part of this whole thing too. What's crazy is that these people will try to gaslight us. Well, see, Lizzo was twerking when she was big, so that means you're not Lizzo. You're not Lizzo, and even Lizzo was losing weight. Lizzo looks so good now. Like, she lost a lot of weight. I know she's still panda bearing to the big back people, but she looks a lot better now that she's lost a lot of weight. Like, she looks so much better. Let's be for real. I do want to touch on this point about fat folks in the gym. I'm never going to sit over here and make fun of somebody that is overweight and they're in the gym trying to lose the weight. I'm not going to make fun of you for doing what you're supposed to do. You're trying to lose the weight, and I commend you. If anything, know, the people that make fun of fat people that are in the gym trying to lose the weight, like, ugh, what kind of like high school ass mentality do you have? The gym, that's exactly where they need to be, in the gym and eating healthy in the kitchen. I'm not gonna look at bigger people sideways for being in the gym. I commend you. I hope you stick to it and lose all of the extra weight. The earlier point about all of these different fat acceptance people dying at a young age, what some of them will do would be like, well, see, this person was skinny and she died. It's not always, well, this person that was skinny and she died. It's all about bettering your options, bettering your, it's a risk assessment, okay? Bettering your chances. Just because someone is skinny does not mean that they're always gonna be perfect, that their health is 100%, that all of these things, but guess what? It puts you in a better position. And see, that goes back to what we've been talking about on this channel, is that loser mentality. If they don't have a guarantee, then they will reject it every single point. Well, you can't guarantee me. Nothing in life is a guarantee. It's all about doing what's best and bettering your odds. You cannot 100% guarantee anything except for death. That is one thing that is guaranteed. It's going to happen no matter what you do, no matter how much money you have. You will one day die. With this, you are bettering your odds of survival and longevity when you are not massively overweight or massively underweight. Both extremes are extremely dangerous and should be avoided. You're bettering your odds, and only a loser with a loser mentality is going to be like, well, it's not guaranteed. A skinny person can die of a heart attack too. They still have better odds, and also there are other factors that play into it. Why add on to the factors that are going to play into your health by being massively overweight and not putting the fork down?
You're one of those people at the gym who looks at fat people funny or makes them feel uncomfortable because they might be sweating a little harder or grunting a little harder because they're a little bit bigger, then you're the worst type of human being. You're actually a dickhead because you don't know how much effort it actually took that person to get up and try to change their lives. But what I'm here to talk about today is this new wave of content creators who are not only advocating for obesity, but they're glorifying it. Content creators like this.
If promoting obesity is what it takes to make other fat people feel hot, obviously I'm gonna do that. So yes, I am promoting obesity. Stay mad.
Shut your fat. I don't know what happened, but I think the video cut off. I was gonna say fabulous. Okay, but no, seriously though, for a lot of people, food is an addiction. And notice how you don't see people going around saying, if promoting drug abuse is what's gonna make crackheads feel hot, of course I'm gonna promote drug abuse.
Exactly. You're promoting something that is inherently unhealthy. That's why it gets demonized. If you're promoting people doing drugs, if you're promoting people drinking a lot of alcohol, binge eating is an addiction all the same, then yes, it is something that is going to be shameful. It is something that is shameful. And his edits are funny. I don't know if I've watched his stuff before, but he's funny. This was good.
Not surprised at all because these plus size, big bone, big back, whatever else name they have for calling fat people, these fat content creators have started to become delusional.
Extra body weight causes, heart problems, diabetes. What do you say to that?
I think that the science isn't actually as clear-cut as we like to believe, and there's not really quite a consensus yet about the real relationship between weight and health.
That's a lie. That's just a flat out lie. These folks will get on here and straight up lie, and people that are emotionally traumatized or just slow or, just mentally ill, they're gonna hear this. Oh, well, there's no correlation between being fat and this, and then they're gonna run with it and ruin their lives. People like this are actually very dangerous, especially if you have little kids that get a hold of this foolishness, these lies, and then they base their younger years on that lie. That is the part, your older self should be able to see through this and know that it's nonsense, but a child might not.
Aside from the fact that she's just straight up wrong, do you see the delusion in this? And honestly, if I was a morbidly obese person, I wouldn't need science to tell me that being obese negatively impacts my health. I mean, the fact that I probably wouldn't be able to run, or maybe being out of breath after climbing a few flights of stairs, being like 2 to 3 times the size of a regular person, or maybe not even being able to reach certain parts of my body because I'm so goddamn big.
I need his help a little bit to clean myself, wiping just my ass. You know what I mean?
Every single single time I see these 600-pound life, 500-pound life people, they look miserable. You're trying to tell me that when you are living to eat, that this is just the happiest you'll ever be? Look, I like eating good food, okay? I do a little dance, okay? I do a little dance when I eat some really good food. With that being said, anything in excess is not gonna be good. This does not look happy. Like, he does not look happy. This seems like a miserable existence. And they're not going to be able to gaslight all of us into thinking that this is what oh, I don't like that my hand is right there. That this is what happiness looks like.
I wouldn't need any signs to know that I was unhealthy. And I mean, it's gotten so bad that we even have doctors getting paid to say stuff like this.
But 96% of those participants in The Biggest Loser regained their weight because their brain worked well. It was supposed to bring them back to store what they needed or what the brain thinks it needs.
So willpower?
Throw that out the window.
This is a panda bear. This is a panda bear. This goes back to that loser mentality. And this is the same issue that I have with a lot of these folks within the Black community when it comes to the issues that we have. They throw on this pandering bullshit to make the lower denominator feel better about themselves instead of just being honest with them. Oh, well, they gained the weight because it's just natural. They're naturally fat. No, that's not what happened. They didn't fix what was up here. The reason why a lot of those folks regain the weight, and not just people on Biggest Loser, but in general, the reason why people regain the weight is because it's not a lifestyle change. They do some type of crash dieting, something that is not maintainable, something that is not something you should keep doing, especially once you get down to the weight that you were supposed to be at. It's not sustainable. And then they fall off the wagon and they go back to the eating behaviors, the eating habits that they had before that made their backs big in the first place. That's the problem. Y'all don't change your lifestyles. So if you want to have longevity with your weight loss, it has to be a lifestyle change. And I can speak on this from experience. The last time I lost a lot of weight was when I was vegan. I was vegan. I had a major caloric deficit, so I was losing weight left and right, and then I didn't eat a lot of fat. That's probably why I had issues with my gallbladder. It wasn't squeezing the juices out to melt down the fat, so it turned into gallstones. The problem with that is my lifestyle changed. I went from not being vegan to now, because I restricted myself so much, now I just wanted to eat everything. It was like I was making up for lost time. I was eating all the cakes. I was eating all the food, all the, greasy, meaty, just everything. There was a point in time where I was addicted to bacon after I stopped being vegan. I was obsessed with bacon. It was crazy. I wanted bacon on everything because I did not have the lifestyle established to keep the weight off. My lifestyle it didn't revert back. I went into overkill. Let's be so for real here. Because that lifestyle was not in effect, I gained weight. That's what happens. It's not that my body was just going back to an equilibrium. No, it was up here. It was how I was behaving out in society. I was eating too damn much. Had nothing to do with some kind of equilibrium. Absolutely not. It had everything to do with my lifestyle. And so for this dusty broad to get over here and say, well, you should just throw willpower out the window. What candy, sugary company is paying you, bitch? That's what I want to know. Who is lining your pockets to say this? Throw willpower out of, basic logic. Calories in, calories out. That is it. Yes, you could have some people that have different disorders and things like that. At the end of the day, calories in, calories out. Are you in a caloric deficit? Are you maintaining? Or are you overeating? Period. That's it. So her to tell big people who are already struggling with binge eating, that's like telling a drug addict, you're just predisposed. You're gonna be a drug addict and you should just give up willpower. In any other context, we would be able to look at this woman and say, you're crazy, you're an enabler, you're sick and twisted. In any other situation, we'd be able to say that. But for some reason, when it comes to fat people, they're predisposed. They can't control that. Yes, they can. They can control their hand putting the the food into their mouth, they can control it.
So you're saying that their brain, which correct me if I'm wrong, usually functions to help us survive, is telling them to get so big that they can barely move or do day-to-day activities? You see how that doesn't make sense? And I know one of you guys is gonna come through trying to make this argument.
I disagree because I believe in society, especially in America, we have this idea that, oh yeah, all fat people ate themselves that way, that they just sit at home and they're lazy and they don't do anything and they ate themselves that way. But they don't take into account people who have a disease. They don't take into account people who work out and their body is just built that way.
Stop that. You know, it's like one person had a thyroid diagnosis and then all of them were like, it's my thyroid. And it's like, is it the thyroid or did the habits and the lifestyle create a thyroid problem? See, the food that you eat does affect your hormonal balance. What comes first, the chicken or the egg? Did you fuck up your thyroid because you couldn't put the food down? Is that what happened? They always want to lean on, well, you don't know, maybe I have a this and maybe I have a that. One thing we know for certain is you have a put the food down problem. That's one thing we know for certain.
Someone, thin or fat, could be addicted to something, could have really high cholesterol or low bone density or too high of a resting heart rate. They might have a chronic illness or other autoimmune disease. Even yes, thin people could have type 2 diabetes and high blood pressure.
And yeah, tomorrow I might get bit by a spider and turn into Spider-Man. Do you see how weak that argument is? Now, I'm sure there's probably a small population within the fat community that does suffer from these conditions, but I definitely don't think it's the majority. Most people are fat because of their life decisions. Now, I get it. We have women who get pregnant and put on weight. We have people who get depressed and use food as a coping mechanism.
Even with the pregnancy and putting on the weight, it comes from overeating. Again, I can speak on this. I was eating too much. It was crazy. I went from not being able to eat anything to wanting to eat everything. And at the end of the day, when you're pregnant, you don't have to eat for two. That's like the misconception. That's what they tell women. Oh, you're supposed to eat enough for two people. That's not, no. You do need extra calories, not that many extra calories.
And I'm not shaming any of those people. I just want us to operate in reality. These fat content creators are trying to convince us that whether you're fit or morbidly obese, you can still get sick and deal with the same illnesses. And no one denied that. All we're saying is that you being morbidly obese puts you at a higher risk of getting these illnesses.
Goes back to what I've been saying. Loser mentality, okay? The losers of the world, that's what they think. That's how they operate. They operate on the basis of, well, if bad things can happen, then I might as well not try. I might as well just do this, that, and the third. I'm like, you're a loser. Just say that. You want a participation trophy because you don't have 100% guarantee. You don't want to try. And that's the problem.
And trust me, I get it. Your body, your choice. But when I'm sitting next to you in that plane ride for 6 hours, squished and I can't move my arms, at that point, I don't know. It just feels like it's starting to affect my choice too. And since we're on the topic of airplanes, we gotta talk about this petition that this fat content creator started.
I think every plus size traveler should get a free second and even third seat on an airplane. I'm on a mission to revolutionize the travel industry and make it a more accessible, accepting, accommodating place for all.
There's no reason for your ass to be this big. No, it's not that everything in the world has to get massively bigger because you can't put the fucking fork down. If you need to get somewhere, take a damn forklift. And just imagine if you're sitting there and you just have ass cheek rubbing up against you because she's trying to get through the damn aisle. Ugh. I don't want your booty cheek rubbing up against me. That is, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, whenever I used to fly, that used to be one of my fears, was that I would get the seat next to somebody big like this and they'd be spilling over into my seat. And then you have to have that awkward conversation of get up off me. Cause like, look, I don't want you sweating on me. I don't want whatever it is that you got on you to get on me. I don't want to smell like you when I get off my flights. So whenever I was on a plane and I saw somebody with a massive back walking down the aisle, I was sitting there like, please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. Please don't sit next to me. I paid for my seat. I occupy my seat. You know, I have weight to lose as well. I'm not big enough where I'm spilling over into the seat next to me. So I occupy the allotted space in an airplane seat for me, for a single person. It is not fair that I live my life in a way so that I only occupy the space that is set out for me, but because you want to just eat everything, now you're gonna spill over into my occupied space? No. And make me uncomfortable for my flight? No, absolutely not. And not only that, it's an entitlement there. In airplane operating, they're expecting to get payment for each seat that is available. If there's a butt in that seat, they should be getting paid for that person in that seat. So to be so entitled that I shouldn't have to pay for extra seats, even though I'm taking away your ability to make revenue off of those seats because I'm one person in 3 seats, in 2 seats. That is a level of entitlement that is so and disgusting. And I think it was Blunt Girly, she mentioned this in several videos, how a lot of these bigger people, you know, they'll say, well, I'm a good person on the inside and I'm a good person, all that other stuff. But, you know, when they start speaking, you hear them in all their entitlement. It's like, no, your outsides match your insides. You are greedy. And we see it with how you look, but your mentality is also greedy and entitled. The personality ain't hitting either. Back in the day, I used to think that bigger people were always jolly. I'm learning that that was false.
First of all, at the end of the day, an airline is a business. So for you to think that they're gonna give up 2-3 seat spaces up for free, newsflash, buddy, that ain't happening. And I hate how she's so comfortable trying to inconvenience the rest of society due to her poor eating decisions.
That's exactly what Blunt Girl was talking about. When you have that type of mentality, you feel like it's okay for you to inconvenience everybody, but you don't want to be inconvenienced with getting your own towel. Okay, all them big broads that were complaining the towels don't fit, the towels aren't big enough for, even though the hotel towels are huge. Hotel towels are humongous. It doesn't fit me. You want to inconvenience this business and say, well, you need to get bigger towels. They need to buy all new big towels for you when you come in. No. There was even one that were saying, well, they need to make the hallways bigger. And here's another part. When you're in the store and you're trying to just shop for your goods, okay? Shop for your produce, shop for all these things, and they're just standing there occupying the entire aisle and you can't get past, and you try to get their attention to say, hey, excuse me, I need to get past, and it's just crickets. It's just crickets. They look at you like you're the crazy one. And it's not all. I'm sure there are a lot of, you know, overweight people, like massive, because we're talking about massively overweight. I'm not talking about chubby folks. I'm talking about massively overweight people who are pleasant, very kind people, still have that issue of too much food to the face. They are trying to be polite. They will move out of the way for you. They're not trying to go out of their way to inconvenience you, but there are some that are very entitled. And the moment you even give them the thought that their weight is a problem, then they want to clap back at you. They want to have an attitude. They want to look at you like you're crazy just because you're trying to get down the aisle and they're taking up the aisle. Unpleasant to be around and very entitled.
This lady right here might be my least favorite fat content creator.
Said to me, well, have you eaten? And I said, yeah, I had some pizza earlier. And they said, you need to eat something like a bit more healthy. Now, there are a few words that I don't allow when somebody comes into my house, and healthy is one of them.
And you know what irks me the most is that some of these fat content creators like her are promoting this fat lifestyle of overindulgence to their supporters while they have trainers helping them improve their health. So instead of practicing what you preach, you're leading your supporters towards an early death while you get away scot-free. And the saddest part is that I know that a lot of these fat content creators know the repercussions of being that overweight, but for the sake of keeping the platform they built on glamorizing obesity, they're willing to put people's lives at risk. But I can't highlight the people who have lied to their supporters without highlighting the people who have been honest and have tried to make a positive change in their lives.
I'm 25 and being fat led me to having cancer. I know what you're thinking, Jordan, being fat doesn't cause cancer. And you're right, it doesn't. But some of the negative repercussions of being fat can lead to you getting cancer. It was really hard for me to get on TikTok initially and talk about the fact that I had cancer that was literally caused by me being fat, when I have an entire audience and an entire platform dedicated to showing that your life doesn't have to suck if you are fat.
Everybody, let's clap it up for her. Let's clap it up for her.
The folks that are honest about the different things that they're struggling with, they don't sit here and try to glamorize it. They tell you the nitty, the gritty, the hardcore truth about the issues that they face being that big. I agree. Shout out to y'all for being honest. I can appreciate somebody being honest about how their choices have affected them. I love that for you, and I hope that you have a healthier lifestyle so that you don't have to deal with that anymore. And I hope that her cancer has been removed, or, you know, she's in remission and she's not dealing with that reality as of today. With that being said, the mofos that lie, the mofos that gaslight, the mofos that see all of the love and support that they're getting for their big back content, and then they know it's wrong, but they keep doing it because it keeps lining their pockets. That's the part. I can't stand those people. You have some where they're sitting over here shooting themselves up with, what is it, Ozempic? And then they're still getting, oh, big back this, big back. The whole time they're spitting the food out because it's gonna make them nauseous, and they try to eat all of that because they're on the Ozempics. You are lying to your audience and not telling them the truth. And see, to be fair, there are folks that have come out and told their audience, hey, I am trying to lose weight, I am trying to be healthier, and their audience crucifies them. If the audience is crucifying them, okay, do what is best for your health. Guess what? You will grow a new audience of people who are accountable, people who are rooting for you, and people who want to see you be healthy, and also people who are inspired by you to be healthier. So shout out to those content creators. I am not going to shame somebody who is on the journey to be healthy, who is on the journey to make themselves better. They are making better lifestyle choices as long as they're being honest about it. They're not sitting over here pretending to stuff their face for their audience while being healthy behind the scenes. No, when you are honest and upfront about it with your audience and you are trying to promote that healthy lifestyle shift, then I rock with you. I support you, and I wish you the best 1000%. It's the folks that want to gaslight their audience that it's healthy at every size. You can have a back as big as the Empire State Building and you'll be fine. Like, no, those people I can't stand. They are taking advantage of their audience's mental illness, because you have to, like I said before, you have to be mentally ill to allow yourself to get to a certain size without intervention. So they are preying upon that and doing so in order to line their pockets, and that is what I find extremely disgusting.
Cause see, my point is, if you're a content creator that's worth their salt, you making a positive lifestyle shift isn't gonna kill your content creation career. And if those are really your supporters, they'd want the best for you anyways. And to end this video on a high note, we're gonna highlight more people who have changed their life around.
Welcome to What I Eat in a Day as a neurodivergent, chronically ill, ex-fat acceptance influencer on Monjaro, in recovery from food addiction, working on changing my lifestyle.
I am someone who consumed fat acceptance and fat liberation content for a majority of my 20s. And it convinced me that I should not trust doctors, to the point where I did not go see a doctor even when I was extremely ill, until I was 26 and pregnant with twins. And later in my pregnancy, I got diagnosed with gestational diabetes, which is common for women who are overweight and pregnant with multiples. I have been working very hard to unlearn and deconstruct from a lot of the rhetoric and ideology around fat acceptance and fat liberation recently, and I feel like this story that I'm telling you is extremely important. Fat acceptance rhetoric is incredibly dangerous.
Now, for any people watching this who are struggling with their weight, please don't think I was trying to belittle you with this video. I truly think that you should love yourself at whatever weight that you are, but at the same time, I think you should want better for yourself, not only for you, but for the people who love you as well.
If you love yourself, you're gonna wanna take care of yourself. At any point in time in my life where I did not love myself, where self-esteem was at the all-time low, I was not taking care of myself. What is the main thing that they say when someone is depressed? What is the main thing that they say in order to take yourself out of that depression? Is to start taking care of yourself. Get up, take the shower. That's what they say. It's the same thing when it comes to weight loss and regaining control over your life. Shout out to all of the people that are trying to do better, that are making those lifestyle choices. I'm not trying to shame you with any of this either. It's the folks who want to prey on you and tell you, oh, well, you're just big and you can't control it. Or throw free will out the window. Throw power and will out the the window. Or the other people that try to gaslight you and say, being big is amazing. Like, those are the people I cannot stand, and that is where the smoke is. I don't have smoke for people who are actively trying to better themselves. That is what we all should be doing, myself included. But y'all, I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. How do you feel about this whole video? Do you agree with the fat acceptance people where it's like health at every size and you need to accommodate this big ass? Or do you agree with me and this brother where it's like, no, no, you're not gonna put us out because you can't put the fork down? I am curious to hear you guys' thoughts down below. If you like the content, like the content. The more you interact with it, the more it gets pushed down to the algorithm. Also, hype the video if I have that function. I don't know. I'll know when the video is uploaded. If you're feeling a little extra generous, the link is in the description to buy your girl a coffee. Thank you guys so much, and I will see y'all with the next one. Deuces.